The magic of the microphone. The magic of the microphone. Greetings, one and all. And as always, I hope you're well. Look what I have here. An AKG D330 BT. How did I come by it? Well, as some of you may know by now, I've got a relationship with the shop Rockbottom over the road, and I did a video of there inside the shop, which I stick on the end of these videos to help promote or whatever. And in doing so, somebody got in touch and said, in that mic cabinet, that silver mic, that's the mic ABBA used, and there aren't many reviews of it. Maybe you want to hire that one. So I did, and here it is. So that's how I came by it. I've done a kind of an unboxing from above in another video, so I won't be doing that. All close-ups, taking the top off and all the rest of that. It's in another video, which I don't think I've edited yet, but I have done that. That will be there. What the manufacturer says, well, it says quite a lot. I'll put some of it on the screen. There's quite a lot of information. Obviously, it's 70s, 80s microphone, so it's not on the AKG site, but it's on other sites. Vintage Microphone, I think, is one of them. .com has got quite a lot about it. And you can download the various manuals from somewhere or the other if you search. What do they say? What have I got here? It says, astonishing series demonstrating throughout the US. It said that sample units were intentionally dropped from 6 feet onto hard surfaces. They suffered some cosmetic damage, but worked fine. They're saying it's tough. So that was very important to them. It seems a lot of the stuff, when you look through it, they were serious. That's the impression I'm getting. It says it's radically new and vastly superior. It's a musician's and broadcast microphone. Wide range response of a studio mic. Toughness of a field mic. One of the most effective shock noise rejection systems available ever, it says. Distinctive styling, comfortable balance, easy to service modular design. Wide frequency range, transient response, tonal flexibility on a par with the very best studio dynamics. So let me put it right up against my SM58, which isn't here. Here it is, with a brand new proper Shure, from Shure grill. Up till now, in my possession. Well, it originally had one. I told you about this. It already had one and it got dented on it, so I got a replacement, but it wasn't a proper Shure one. I knew it was a generic, so I'm not saying it's fake or anything. There you go. So, about the same diameter from what I can tell, and somewhat longer. A little bit heavier, I feel. Not that much in it, but I feel a little bit heavier. Apparently it's zinc alloy. Where were we? So all that stuff then, I mean, interesting. I quite like it. There's no mention of, it's got this sound, it's got that sound, it reaches the back of the room. Powerful, whatever, makes your voice do this, do that, do that. No mention of that. I quite like it. They say it's tough, good, needs to be, doesn't it? They say it's got a wide frequency range. They mention the transient response, so saying it's fast. That's interesting. That's in the 70s. They're doing this. I've got this tonal flexibility, which we'll look at when we go with these switches, which are redundant as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, everything comes apart, by all accounts, with no tools. You take the top off, you can take and so on. I should mention now that this hasn't got the original foam. They even go somewhere or other. They then say the 3-layer pop filter assembly, wire mesh, fabric, foam. So there's a wire mesh. The foam, by all accounts, is a sandwich with fabric. This came with foam, but I don't think it's the original. The others, I've got another one, and I had one other assembly sent back. You'll see in another video. Both of those didn't have foam. So foam from the 70s is going to have deteriorated. So whatever this has got, I'm sure it's not original, and I can see no fabric in there. So maybe the pops are not going to be, it's not as one, original as one would hope. Anyway, goes on then to tell you that the transducer floats in the housing with a hard and soft bumpers. So to try and damp varying amounts of handling noise, fast, one for the higher frequencies, one for the lower frequencies, so they go on about. And they also say they've got a rear-facing noise compensating transducer. So there's two transducers. There's one which responds to your voice, and there's another which responds to the handling and cancels out the handling by all accounts. It goes a bit beyond me there. But anyway, I think I'm going to have to stop because it could go on. So what I like about them, I like all the material that seemed to have come with it. I'll be putting bits on screen. They seem to be serious. They seem to be serious about the sound quality. Nowhere do they mention it's going to do this to your voice, or it's going to do that. It's got a powerful, ragged sound, or it's going to shock the audience. None of that. Just serious engineering by the look of it. It seems like they made quite some effort. Was it worth it? Oh, we'll need to find out. So that's that. Frequency response, the charts. Let's have a look and see what we might glean from that. Looking at the top line, the top graph, we can see this is with the switches set to flat. And we can see then that it's quite flat through the middle from about 200, quite flat without the proximity traces there, which I like. And you can see that then it starts to rise at around 2K. And you've got a fairly gentle peak, fairly flat, up to about 10, and then it starts to come down. Now, they do say 50 to 20K. Well, the graph goes to 20K, but once again, as in a lot of other microphone manufacturers, it's what is it? How far down is that? It's over 10 down, over 10 dB down, so I don't really call that 20K. I don't think there's any dynamics really that kind of do that. The M88 says it does, but again, it's, well, Anyway, we'll see what it sounds like. So reasonably flat. It has got that peak at the top there. And then when we get to the lower end, so it's 200 and it's dropping off. So again, I'm wondering for me, but it has got the proximity. So if we include that, then yes, it looks like it does go down to 50 hertz and above, and there's some boost up there around about 100. If you look at the bottom graph, this just shows you what the switches do. So you can see that the thick black line through the middle is it with the switches flat, so the same as the graph above. But then you can see these others with the dotted lines. But we'll listen to them because it's much more interesting than looking at the graph. Incidentally, looking at the other things that are there, we've got a picture of ABBA, and we've got Gorbachev with two of them in that picture. Special design and construction, just shows you how it all comes apart. And you can see with that foam thing, blast diffusing middle layer, whatever I've got doesn't look like that. So I might see if I can get a better one somehow or other. I doubt I'll ever find an original. So that's how it comes apart. And again, if you go to the exploded diaphragm, you can see all the parts. Apparently it's field serviceable. So there you go. Fit, finish, feel, and accessories. Well, I haven't got any of them. Accessories and the fit and the finish. Fantastic. Very good quality. Very solid. Very, whether you like it, the look of it or not, that's up to you. But no complaints at all with that. Just very well made. Let's see how the connector does. As good as it gets. Perfect. Very good. So there we go. Done the close-ups with the SM58. So I guess I'm going to switch it on, see what's what. I'm on the Earthworks SV33. I'm going to go straight over to the AKG set flat. Now I'm on the AKG set flat. Now I'm on the AKG set flat. Now I'm on the AKG. So I'm putting the trim up a bit. I'll tell you why. Because I have noticed with this, actually, I've used this mic not on gigs, but a lot through a PA in the schools and with different singers, because they're all fascinated because of the ABBA thing. So I took it to the two places I teach at, so they're wow, look at that, and then show them the photograph and all the rest of it. So I've used it a lot. And I've noticed that it hasn't got a very high output. You need more gain on it. I think it's humbucking, it hasn't got a transformer. You can see from the exploded diagram, it's got a humbucking coil. More on that later, because I'm thinking low outputs and humbucking coils. I think there's something I like. But I could be talking baloney. I think I've noticed something, but maybe I haven't. Anyway, what do I notice immediately then? I noticed no hiss. Obviously, the condenser mic's got hiss. I know that's the first thing to be truthful with you, it's the first thing I noticed so I'm going to go back now. I've rabbited on a bit. Now I'm on the SV33, and going back, I'm thinking, wow, round there, do I notice much difference? Do I notice much difference? SV33, do I notice much difference? Do I notice much difference going to the AKG? Do I notice much difference? Do I notice much difference? Yes, a bit more of, a bit more of that. Yeah, there. Yeah, 33 still louder, isn't it? AKG. G. AKG. Yes, there's a little bit of something that's that push that we saw on the graph, I think. Also, I think obviously these diaphragm materials have a sonic quality. You can't get away from it. And I've noticed this has a little bit of a sonic quality. They do say in one of the other things about one of their other mics, they say that this is top of the range, maybe because of the switching. I think the other mics are very similar, so I'm after one of those. It hasn't got the switching. And they do say that it's flatter. Aha. And they said a little less crisp. That's the word they used. So there is a certain crispness. And we don't want to confuse frequency push, which hasn't got that much of, with detail, but I think it's got detail as well. And I think I can recognize, because I've got another one, the diaphragm material, the diaphragm material going to the 33. The diaphragm material says it's got a spike there, hasn't it, on that the diaphragm material going to the AKG. The diaphragm material, it's a little bit hollower sounding because it's got that at the top. What do I bring it a bit closer? I'm going to bring it a bit closer. Now it's a bit closer. So it certainly hasn't got the of the 33. Well, it hasn't, but you have to get pretty close to it. It's no slouch. I think I'm going to involve my 70s. Thank you. Somebody told me. I hadn't really noticed and really paid that much attention to it. So I've poshed it up with a new grill, and the person noticed the markings on the side, and they said those dual impedance ones, they haven't been made for a long time. It's American, USA. So I looked it up, and yes, indeed, they stopped making the dual impedance, it seems, in 84, which I think is when I got this, and it was old and beat up when I got it, so I'm thinking this is a 70s SM58. So I may as well just quickly compare the two. 70s SM58. And this is the AKG. This is the 70s 58, which I feel needs to go up. This is the 70s 58. This is the 70s 58. This is the 70s 58, getting closer. This is the 70s 58, taking it away. This is the 70s 58. This is the AKG. 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 This is the 70s 58. This is the 70s 58. We're going to put up some more. This is the 70s 58. So that gives you that comparison. I'm going to do some singing. Got a series of things coming up, which these two will be compared along with loads of others. I'm going to make some use of my 70s 58 now, because I know I tested it in an earlier video with the newer ones, and this one, the 70s USA one, sounded better than the current ones. What a shame. How difficult is it, really? What's going on? Maybe it loosens up. I don't know what's going on. A lot of things. I keep saying this, and it upsets me a bit, really. A lot of things, the older ones are better. It's not right. It shouldn't be that way round. Anyway, that's enough of that. get rid of the, thank you, 70s 58. Compared to the SM58 then. Bear in mind, not the right foam in the AKG. Can you hear what I mean about speed when I do that, or is it just me? That's a 58. AKG. SM58. I don't know if you can hear, you can kind of hear into it, to my ears, you can kind of hear into it. It's so I think it's faster, for sure. So once they said that, they looked at that. Proximity I've done, really. That's as much as you're going to get if we're right up there. Just enough for me. Just enough. I could do with a bit more, but just enough. Here we go. It's meant to be super cardioid. I'm right on the front, coming round to the side, 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 coming round, still quite strong, coming round to the side, and then suddenly, round at the side, suddenly it cuts up. You get a bit of the room, the ceiling, coming round to the back, coming round to the back, coming round to the back. Big leakage there, not too bad at the back there. It seems quite benign in its tone, coming round to the side. That's where it really cuts, coming on. So it comes back fairly quickly, sounds a bit thin there. Comes back, comes round, and now it's on there. So that's good, 1970s. It's good. Be good for now, really, I think. Handling noise, then. It's got this special thing. So what it seems to do, then, yes, is that the low stuff is remarkably absent. Yeah, very, very good. You do get this, but I suppose what can you do about that if you're going to fiddle right behind it's a supercardioid when we know that supercardioids have a spot there where they pick it up, and that's right where your hands are. So I guess if you're going to do that, you're going to get it through. But it's very good handling noise. Some of the Earthworks I think are better, but very good. Pops then, let's do that. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It's not so much the pops, it's a bit of a... is all that there. Well, what can I say? It hasn't got the right foam. I might fiddle about with other foams, I don't know. Peter Piper picked... But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say this again. Let's compare it to the SM58. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. New grill, new foam from Shure. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Well, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Not much difference really, is there? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Maybe a little bit, I don't know. Be interesting to see what that other foam was about, because they mention it. It's obviously special. Pretty much done. Just see how it drops off. Pretty much done. Just see how it drops off. Pretty much done. Just see how it drops off. Pretty much done. To me, has a little bit of a condenser-like thing going on. Let's try it with the SM58. See how the SM58 drops off. 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 This is coming closer with the SM58. Now I'm right on top of the SM58. This is the AKG. Let's see how it drops off. This is the AKG. Let's see how it drops off. This is the AKG. Let's see. I think it drops off less. Bringing the AKG closer. Bringing the AKG closer. Very smooth. Bringing the AKG closer. Bringing the AKG closer. And now I'm right up on the AKG. Let's give ourselves a rest from all that. Well, well, well. I was already editing the video, and I suddenly realised I'd missed out a major part of this mic. The switches. Now, there is some significance, because the switches are of no use to me. I'm going to go through them now. But they might be to you. It's not all about me. So I didn't even think to try them. But it is a major part of the mic. Let's go on to it. Here I am then, on the AKG, and I'm going to fiddle with the top switch. This is a bit flat, so when I do this, I've now added a bit of that. Can you hear? To the top. That's the middle setting. Going to go back. Middle setting, flat setting. So here, yeah, middle setting. Now let's go to the third setting. Really? This is the third setting. Well, would you want that? I don't. Back to the middle. Back to flat, which isn't flat anyway. It's got a boost. The second switch down the bottom here cuts the bass. Now you know how I feel about that already. But there you go. Here it is. This is flat. This is with the bass cut somewhat. Female voice, well, it would affect female voices as well. And this is the final setting with the bass cut even more. I'll put the things on the screen so you can see what's going on. And let me put this one now with a bit of extra treble, and now full treble. So this is full treble, full bass cut. Full treble, full bass cut. Let's bring the bass back in slowly. Bringing the bass back in a bit. Bringing the bass back to flat. Taking the treble off a little. Taking treble off completely. So it's now flat, which is what I like. One other thing I was going to do, I'm going to fiddle with the desk, because it occurred to me when fiddling with the desk, now I've sprayed the pots and everything works, that by removing frequencies, so I've got, I think, 80 hertz on the bass, 2.5 on the mid, and 12.5 or 12 kilohertz treble. As I remove them, you can hear the quality of the mic, of the diaphragm, if you like, rather more clearly in those different bands. So if I remove the bass now I've taken the bass off, so you can hear what's left there. I'm going to take out the mid. I've taken the mid off, taken the mid off, so we can hear what that top, I'm going to boost it a bit, can hear what that top bit's like. You can hear what that top bit's like. That's slightly crisp, that's part of its character, I think. You can hear what that bit's like on its own. Back to flat with the treble. I'm going to put the mid back in. The bass is still off. I'm going to take the treble out. Now this is the mid. I'm going to boost it a bit. This is the mid. Boosted. This is the mid. Boosted. So you get an idea of the flavour of its mid-range. Putting the treble back in. And now I'm going to take the treble and the mid-range out. The bass is off. Bringing the bass back in. And now I'm boosting the bass a bit. Now I'm boosting the bass a bit. I don't know if that does anything, whether it enables you to hear the qualities in the different frequencies on their own. I think it does a little. You get a little bit of the idea of the character of the microphone. Anyway, I'm glad I remembered to do the switches. Now I can crack on. Take this with a pinch of salt, because it's just me. Just me. I bought this one. It's from Rockbottom. And hired it. And I bought it. And I bought the Mark II. So I'm going to compare them later. And there is something about it I just rather like. It just goes low enough for me. It's just got... just avoids being too much at the top for me. It just about fits in my requirements there. It does seem fast. I like the way it's built. I like the ABBA connection. I like, whatever, what does all that matter? I like the detail. I like they tried. Reading through all these things, they really tried. Serious sort of scientific stuff and engineering, and no messing about with fancy sounds or character mics or anything. Like they really had a go, which I like, having that piece of history, frankly, really, is what I'm saying. And I know what it uses as well. It's usable. So there we go. But I guess what we really need to know is, what does a man think? Maybe you're poor, maybe you have wealth, maybe in demand or maybe baby on the shelf. Whatever your situation, there's one thing you should do. Reject all automation and let me work on you. I'm Mr. Manual. Automatic's not my style. Yeah, I like to manually manipulate you, guaranteed to make you smile. Hey! Mr. Man. that is not my style. I let the manually manipulate you. It's guaranteed to make you, guaranteed to make you, guaranteed to make you smile like the manually manipulate you. It's guaranteed to make you smile. Come down, now. I like to manually manipulate you. It's guaranteed to make you smile. Yeah. El aristocrata consumado. So what is the Rockbottom Connection? Well, Rockbottom's a music shop over the road from me, established in 1974. In 1979, I bought my Fender Super Twin reverb amplifier there. I've still got it and it still works. And they do all sorts of microphones, as you can see. Obviously Shure, Lewitt, Yamaha, all sorts, stage and studio. And they've got some second-hand mics, audio interfaces, all sorts of good stuff. And as you can see, loads of electric guitars. And if you're into them, I'm not so much, but acoustic guitars. And there you can see also keyboards. They do PA. And here you can see, obviously, electric guitar amplifiers. And as if that's not enough, upstairs, they've got a drum section. And also cymbals and percussion. And they do servicing and repair of all sorts. Also, they've got 7 rehearsal rooms. You can see a couple of the smaller ones there. So you can do your stuff. You can come and try some mics out down in the rehearsal rooms and get a kind of real-world feel for it. Yeah, it's in Croydon. You can buy stuff, of course, and get in touch if there's particular things you want. Anyway, my idea then is that I can... there are a fair few mics. I get mates' rates if I hire them and check them out. So that's the plan.